Welcome to Property Pillars. This is a show where we talk to property professionals about buy-to-let investments, mortgages, land developments and other topics. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned investor, this is a show for you. Hello there, thank you for joining us on Property Pillars. On today's show, we are talking to Justin Whitemore, the Director of Rent Guarantee UK, and we're going to be talking to him about three things. HMOs, service apartments and rent-to-rent strategies. So please welcome to the show, Justin Whitemore.
Hey, how are you doing?
Very well, thanks.
Good.
Now, Justin, I want to start with serviced apartments.
Yeah.
I'm curious about serviced apartments. First of all, what is it about the business of serviced apartment that people are interested in?
I think it's the fact that you can take a single unit that, let's say, rents out at £700 a month and potentially, if you've got the systems right, quadruple the amount of income that you get from one property. So I think that's probably the main factor why people are getting so excited about it at the moment. The next thing, and this is probably something that you'll know about, is there's no tenants that you have to evict. So no bad tenants. You haven't got to wait, months and months to get someone out. You haven't got to go down the court route to get somebody out because they're in there as a guest, the same as they would be in a hotel or a B&B, and if they don't pay, then they don't stay. And it's as simple as that. So a lot of landlords are liking that part of it at the moment. Also, it's a business, so therefore the new Clause 24 that's coming in, it's not applicable to service accommodation. So there's some big tax savings there as well. So you can see there's quite a lot of advantages of it. And this is why it's so exciting.
Wow. I mean, if it's a service apartment, so therefore location is quite key to it. How important is the location of the apartment or the building?
Really important, really important. There's, you have a lot of people saying you can do this anywhere in the country. I probably would say that you can't. It's very important an area, and again, for different types of strategy within the service accommodation or service accommodation arena, because if you are, let's say, in a London or Manchester or Liverpool, you're going to be corporate based. You're going to get in certain parts of those cities, they're going to be 24/7. You're going to have holiday makers as well, but you might go to someone like Milton Keynes, and you don't get any holiday makers there at all. It's literally Monday to Friday, and it will just be corporates. But then you have other models within the service accommodation arena where you'll be down at the seaside, and that will be all holiday makers. So you'll have no corporates there. So there's very, very different strategies within the service accommodation arena that you need to think about when you're doing it. Likewise, if you put a building in the middle of a field or a little village somewhere that has no real tourist attraction, it's not going to work.
About void periods, as you know, if you rented it to a family or AST, you're pretty guaranteed regular periods. But do you have to deal with more void periods with service apartments, and how do you manage and mitigate against void periods?
Okay, so that really again is down to your strategy that you run within service accommodation. So if you are, let's say, holiday maker, you know that you're pretty much during the out season, the off season, you're going to be very, very quiet. So how to mitigate against that? Well, you could then go back to standard let, maybe 6 months or whichever, or just short term, your sort of corporate stays, but more on a month by month, cheaper, not by the night, month by month accommodation. How do you mitigate against it? It's very difficult, really. So in a respect that it's a business that you have to run. So you advertise your property on portals, and the art to it is getting your properties on as many portals as you can, that you're going to be seen all over the wide web. And it's very easy to a degree to do that because you will have things, what they call channel managers. That is one unit that will spider leg all your properties out to many different portals throughout the internet. And if you get a booking from one, we'll shut all the links off to the other portals so you don't get overbookings. So it's really about getting your property out there and understanding it, looking at key events, key trends within the area. Who's coming into your area in August? Are they holiday makers? Are they overseas visitors? Are they universities? Are they universities coming to check the areas out, etc., etc. So there's a lot of things, absolutely tons and tons of things that you really need to look at, because service accommodation is not a investment strategy that just sits there like a normal buy-to-let and just plods over. This is a business, and it needs to be run and thought of like a business as well.
So maintenance of service accommodation, I mean, overall, do you find that there's more maintenance or less maintenance?
Personally, I find it less. Now, and people might think, oh God, he's mental, but let me tell you the reason why. Well, we've all got single lets, right? And we know after 6 months, a year, 2 years, that when that tenant moves out, it's not their own home. And we're going to have to deal with a certain amount of wear and tear. It's a bit like a rental car. They don't really care about the property, and there'll be scuffs on the wall, etc., etc. Now, to a degree, you'll get that with service accommodation because it is only like a hotel room and don't really care. But tell me how many of your single lets are actually cleaned on a daily basis. Now, this is the great thing about service accommodation. They have to be kept at absolute showroom condition at all times. That actual wear and tear or maintenance of the property is actually very, very low, very minimal, because things are being kept on top of non-stop. Big, major issues never come up because they're always spotted. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. Your other area of expertise is with HMOs.
Yeah.
And I know you have a particular passion about HMOs.
I love HMOs.
Yeah. And
some people hate them, but I love them.
A lot of people say that. It's something that is unique. One of the things I've always wondered about HMOs is the management of roomlets and the aggro. Because I always see it as something that if you're not there managing effectively, it can really get out of hand.
Yeah.
So in your experience as somebody who has HMOs and you're happy to run them, what has been the practical solutions you've implemented in your business to make it manageable and cost effective?
Hands-free systems, hands-free software. So take you back 5 years ago, my phone would have, and actually the phones would probably be 2 or 3 phones, would be ringing constantly, you know, from tenants because of all these HMOs and rooms and whatever, and the phones would be going non-stop. And, you know, that's a point where you think, oh God, am I doing the right thing? You know, and then when the money comes in each month, you go, yes, I am doing the right thing, but you get to a point where you're like, oh. However, the world has moved on leaps and bounds, and there's now new bits of software that are coming in. You know, I would say all of my HMOs now are on a certain software that is all actually controlled by my phone, my computer, my iPad. And what it means is that a tenant could walk into a kitchen and there would be a leaky tap, or they went into their bedroom and the radio's not working, and they will have their own login now to my system. They can get their phone or their computer, press the button, report the incident. That goes then straight through to my maintenance team, and that will come through to us for pre-approval. We will look at the price, yeah, the quote's good, press yes, straight back. It will then inform the tenant what's happening. It will then inform the workman to go and do it. Job done. It also informs the tenant of the progress of the job in real time as it's going on. So, yeah, things have moved on massively now. So you can see I'm quite chilled out.
Absolutely.
And we've got all these things, and that's because of technology now. And it's very, you know, I can't stress this enough. And people go absolutely crazy over different, you know, oh, how do you do that? Systems. Get the systems right, understand the systems, but most importantly, implement the systems the correct way. Because the systems are only as good as what you put into them.
Yes,
so if you set them up right from the start,
yeah,
then they will do everything for you that you need them to do.
Great. Now, the other area that you're really keen on is the rent-to-rent strategies.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about the rent-to-rent strategies, for me, I've always found it a bit of a strange situation, because where you have a landlord who's got this property, you take over the property and you sort of sign a contract on with him, and then you rent out for rooms. Now, how has coming across landlords been? I mean, because where do you get landlords who will give their properties to you? They could have just as well take the same property and given it to a local agent to rent and manage them. Where do you find them?
You normally find the landlords, I find a lot of my landlords at networking events, and I don't mean property networking events. I don't tend to go to many of them, the reason being not because I don't like them or I don't think they have their place, because I think they're brilliant. But everyone's there for the same reason. So I tend to go to business networking events where I'll find business owners. What you'll tend to find with high net worth business owners is they have property or want to buy property. A great place to start off finding landlords with properties, without properties that you can then advise them on properties, and they will go and then actually buy the properties for you. So that's a great way of finding landlords. I also believe that property forums are very good for that specific type of property you're looking for tired landlords, because a great thing that you've just said there, why don't they go and just give it to an agent? Well, I'll give you actually two examples of why. It's because, well, let's just give you one. There was a particular house not so far away from here that the landlord was an overseas landlord in the military. Now, he kept on letting his property out via an agent. Every time he gave them the house, he refurbed it, done it beautiful. Every single time he had it trashed. Now he got to a point where he was overseas, he had no control over it, and he just didn't want it anymore. Now this gentleman came to me and said, look, Justin, you've got a good reputation, you have a letting agency, can you help me? And I said, well, what do you want? What's the key thing do you want? And he said, well, I don't want my house trashed anymore. So my response to him was, well, all due respect, I can't guarantee what someone else is going to do to your house. And you could hear him go, oh, no, not again. And I said, okay, but one thing I can guarantee is I won't do it. And he said, what do you mean by that? I said, well, I will, in effect, become your tenant. I will be responsible for the rents. I will be responsible for the individuals. And if they trash it, guess who pays? Me. And you know what? He just went, have it. Have the house. You can have it for as long as you want. This is great for me. And, you know, I speak to that landlord once a year, if that. And, you know, this is the first time ever that he's had no bad phone calls, no bad tenants, and he doesn't even know about, you know, he never hears about any problems with the property. He just gets his rent every month, and he's absolutely over the moon with it.
So win-win for both parties?
Win-win for both, yeah.
Oh, wow.
We make some money out of it. He makes some money out of it because he has no hassle anymore. He's got his time back. He's got no worry, and he's not having to refurb a house every 6 months.
My final question to you is about buy-to-let in the UK today, and I want to know from you, speaking honestly, with all the recent tax changes, stamp duty changes and everything else, is it still a sexy thing to do, a buy-to-let in the UK today?
Great question. Is it sexy? Well, of course it's sexy to a degree, isn't it? It's property investment. Property investment is sexy, full stop. Is it as sexy as what it was because of all the taxes? No, absolutely not. I think if you do it the right way, and I'm not an advisor to advise people how to do it, but if you do it in the right way and you set it up in certain ways, it can still be just as good. Again, we've spoke about two different models that provide tremendous amounts of cash flow, HMOs and serviced accommodation. They're two great strategies to run in the marketplace we're at the moment. But a single buy-to-let, I think it all depends what you want from it. If you're not worried that it's going to make you money every month, et cetera, and you just want it as a capital growth pension scheme, of course it's a great thing. But is the days, you know, let's face it, not many people made huge amounts of money out of them anyway, you know, on a single buy-to-let. That's why HMOs became very popular, and now service accommodation has taken over.
Well, thank you so much, Justin, for coming on the show. So that's the end of our show today. We've had Justin Whitemore of Rent Guaranteed UK on the show, so we want to say thank you for joining us on Property Pillars.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.